Hello, my name is Eric Turgot, and welcome to the demo of the Direct-to-Wave uh, enemy spawn system. Uh, so I've set up the scene so far, and let's move it in a little. Alright, so let's get started. So after you download the Direct-to-Wave, or as I call it for short, DaW, just drag the DaW setup prefab into your scene. When you do that, you look over to the inspector and you can see the settings that initial settings that come up. So, all right, with DaW, you're allowed to create up to 99 spawn points, and you have different types. Let's start out by creating a sphere. I'm gonna name it a sphere spawn point for this demo. Let's create use a type random, so let's create a random spawn point. Here you can see the numbers and names adds a random string to each name of a spawn point. This is how DaW recognizes between the different types of spawn points. So let's create another one and name it static. Okay. Right here you can see it names it a static spawn point, and the difference between a static and a random spawn point is that a random spawn point allows any enemy to be spawned from that spawn point, or should I say spawn to that spawn point. With static you can only allow one enemy type to spawn to that spawn point. Okay, and with that let's move on. Let's add a new wave. You can see down here the wave status. It's just used to tell you when the wave is in play or completed. With the wait for trigger, I'll explain later on. So let's say go through the wave type. There are two types right now. The randomize, which basically randomizes between the different enemies in the spawn pool, and with linear, how should I say it? It goes down in line in a straight. It spawns straight down the spawn pool instead of randomizing it. I'll show you that later on. So let's leave that setting for this one, randomized. And with wave mode, basically you have two, eliminate and time. Eliminate is basically limited by the wave limit, which is used to set how many enemies to allow before the wave ends. So let's set my limit to like 5 for now. And max enemies allows basically how many enemies should be in play at one time. Let me set that to 3. Spawn rate is controlled by the spawn amount. Well, not controlled, but they work in tandem. So with spawn rate, you spawn by seconds, and how many enemies you spawn with the spawn amount every second. So it's set to once every second, it spawns one enemy. With the spawning status, it just tells you when the wave is spawning new enemies. Let's move on to the enemy settings. The max pool controls how much enemies to pre-pool. So let's set that to like 5 for now, and let's add a new enemy. You can see down here, creates a new enemy, and I can drag a new prefab in. For this demo, let's use 2 enemies, and you see settings, the pool weights are separated. You can see here the weights are used to control how many to pre-pool, which basically say how many, it gives it more percentage of spawning in each level, or in each wave I should say. So let's use my 2 prefabs here. Green sphere, I'll put that in the first enemy, and red sphere. So 3 green spheres would be pre-pulled, and 2 red spheres would be pre-pulled. Alright, I can go on. Let me actually set here for this static spawn point. Let me say I want the green sphere to only spawn from here. So let me select that, and I'm gonna move that into this visual representation. This box here represents only green spheres to spawn on, and leave the random in the middle for now. Let's go back and let's hit play and see what happens. Only green enemies are spawning from the green spawn point, as you can see. And now the level status says completed when it has finished or has hit the wave limit for this one. So let's stop that. That works. Let's try something else. Let's add a new wave, and let's say I want to do linear, and I want to do time this time. Let's set the time to about 10 seconds, and let's do the max enemies of 4. And let's spawn 2 enemies every 2 seconds, and let's add 6 to the pool and add 2 enemies. This time we're gonna make enemy 1 pre-pull 4 and enemy 2 pre-pull 2 in the weights. And let's add the red sphere this time, and then add the green sphere in the lower one, and then let's watch it play out. It's gonna play the wave 1 first, and then it's gonna move on to wave 2. Okay, so now we're into wave 2 and spawning 2 in linear fashion. And actually, let me replay that, and over here you can see in the pawn spawn pool, in the first wave it's randomizing. Okay, and then we're on to the next wave, and you can see in linear fashion everything is being spawned. Every 2 seconds you spawn 2, and time has ran out and the wave has completed. Alright,